The origin of African people. According to the Bible, hello everyone, and welcome to the I Love Jesus Facebook page, a page that takes you through different biblical stories and sacred scriptures. Today, we will explore a fascinating and often lesser-known topic: the Bible and the history of the origin of the African people. The people of Israel lived in Africa for a long time as slaves in Egypt. The black peoples, one of the largest ethnic groups in the world, have a rich history, documented even in the sacred scriptures. Surprisingly, the Bible talks about the origins of the African people, including their melaninated kings and queens. According to the sacred scriptures, all current peoples are descendants of Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. This also applies to blacks and other dark-skinned ethnic groups whose HDIC lineage originated from Ham. One of Noah's sons, Ham, is the brother of Shem and Japheth, who respectively represent the Semitic peoples, like Arabs, Jews, and Syrians, and the European and Asian peoples. The term Hamite originally referred to people descended from Ham or Canaan, one of Noah's sons. According to the Bible, after the flood, Noah and his 3 sons were tasked with continuing Adam's lineage and their father's descendants. With only 8 people, Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and 3 daughters-in-law, humanity, needed to start anew, Ham. Noah's son is recognized as the ancestor of African and black peoples. In the Bible, his name is often associated with Africa, and indeed the Book of Psalms depicts him as the ancestor of the ancient Egyptians. Interestingly, in ancient times, rabbinic traditions, ancient tales of the Jewish people, and other ancient traditions always identified him as the ancestor of African peoples. Furthermore, all interpretations of Ham's children point to African countries and regions and their peoples. Interestingly, Ham's name in Hebrew, Aramaic, and other ancient languages means burned or dark, referring to the skin tone of his descendants. In Genesis 10, between verses 6 and 4, more information about Ham's lineage, also known as the Hdiac peoples, can be obtained. The text presents Ham's descendants Cush, the father of various African nations, and Misraim, the father of the ancient Egyptians. It is important to mention that Arabs, Jews, Syrians, and other peoples refer to Egypt as Misraim in reference to its originator. Other sons of Ham include Put, also known as Put, and Canaan, who is the father of the Canaanites, not the Africans. It is crucial to understand that Canaan represents a distinct region and people. The sons of Cush include Havilah, Sabta, Sabka, Rama, Sabeta, and Nimrod. In the early days of his reign, Babel, among other cities, was part of his domain. Nimrod, who was an ancestor of the native peoples of ancient Babylonia and the Sumerians, ventured into Assyria, where he founded 2 or 3 cities. Additionally, Mizraim was the ancestor of the Lud, who are North African peoples like the Anim, Lim, Nauk, Pusim, and Qasim, from whom the Philistines and the Penes descended. Misraim, the firstborn son of Ham, gave rise to many nations and peoples, including the Ethiopian people. All Ethiopians descend from Cush, as well as the inhabitants of Nubia, known in ancient times as the Kingdom of Cush. These are the main nations and peoples generated by Cush, Ham's son, the first son of Ham. They are not limited to Cush and Nubia, including the Kingdom of Cush, the Kingdom of Nubia, and the ancient Samans. Nimrod, the rebellious son of Cush, is considered the progenitor of the Samaritan people. Furthermore, it is believed that the peoples of southern India, including the natives of the region, are descendants of Cush, as well as many other Africans such as Malians, Atrians, Kenyans, Congolese, and Bantu from Gabon. The term Cush is often associated with Ethiopia and Africa in the Bible, and its literal meaning is Ethiopia or black. Cush was also the father of Canaan and Misraim, or Misraim. Misraim is considered the ancestor of the ancient Egyptians in many peoples of North Africa, including the Berbers and the dark-skinned Tegs. It is fascinating to note that all Semitic peoples, such as Aramaeans, Arabs, and Israelites, refer to Egypt as Misraim. This designation is used in various ancient languages like Aramaic, Arabic, and Hebrew. We know that Ham is the ancestor of all African and South Indian peoples, and he lived a very long life because he was born before the flood. He enjoyed a much longer life, being able to witness up to the 5th and 6th generations of his family and ancestry. Interestingly, just like Shem lived about 600 years and also lived around that age or even more. Although there is no precise confirmation of how many years he lived, since the biblical texts do not mention it, is presumable that he reached the 600-year mark, like his brother. It is not known for certain where Ham's tomb is located, but according to some theories and studies, it may be in the Ethiopian region or even in Nubia. Others claim that he is buried in Mesopotamia, in the land of the Samans. However, many agree that Ham's tomb is in Africa, specifically in Sudan or Ethiopia. Some even suggest that he could be buried in Egypt, which is quite intriguing and interesting, since Egypt is a country full of mysteries and people buried 3,000 or 4,000 years ago are constantly being discovered. The Book of Jubilees provides us with more information about Ham's old age and events involving Noah's family and the 3 lineages: Ham's lineage, Shem's lineage, and Japheth's lineage. This ancient Jewish manuscript, believed to be true in the time of Christ, and even before, reports that Ham completely disapproved of his youngest son, Canaan's decision to dwell in the land of Shem, which is now known as Israel. Canaan did not agree with his son, Canaan's attitude of taking those lands for himself. In the Book of Jubilees, it is reported that Cush and Misraim, Canaan's brothers, along with their father, Ham, disapproved of Canaan's decision to dwell in the land of Shem, which is the region that corresponds to Israel today. Like Ham, they also show disapproval for Canaan's attitude. They go to Canaan and order him to leave that land, as they believe that African lands are reserved for the descendants of Ham. However, Canaan disobeys and continues to dwell in that land, completely ignoring the will of his father and his brothers, Misraim and Cush. The Book of Jubilees reports that Ham was the founder of the first city and province after the flood. He named the city after his beloved wife, Malice. The Bible shows us the diversity and richness of African history, demonstrating that African peoples have significantly contributed to the formation of global civilization and culture. However, having reached this point, I shall inform you about the origin and migration, starting with the lineage of Ham's descendants, son of Noah. In the biblical narrative in Genesis 10, Noah's sons are mentioned as the ancestors of the diverse peoples of the earth after the flood. Ham, one of Noah's sons, is considered the ancestor of various African peoples. According to this narrative, his sons included Cush, associated with Nubia, a historical region in present-day Sudan and southern Egypt; Misraim, associated with Egypt; Put, associated with Libya; and Canaan, associated with the region of Canaan, including parts of present-day Palestine. This genealogy provides a foundation for understanding the historical connections between the peoples who inhabited the regions of Africa and the Middle East, emphasizing the diversity and interconnection of peoples through generations. Migration of Abraham. The migration of Abraham is a fundamental pillar in the stories and traditions of the 3 major Abrahamic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Abraham, born in Ur of the Chaldean, modern-day Iraq, is called by God to leave his homeland and go to the land of Canaan, where God promised to make him the father of a great nation. This migration symbolizes obedience to God and faith in His promises. This journey of Abraham is seen as the beginning of the special relationship between God and the Hebrew people, serving as a basis for future events, including slavery in Egypt and the subsequent liberation under the leadership of Moses. Migration of Joseph to Egypt. The story of Joseph, son of Jacob, is an exciting narrative of betrayal, resilience, and divine providence. Sold as a slave by his brothers, he was taken to Egypt, where his ability to interpret dreams led him to a position of great influence in the Egyptian government. This migration and Joseph's rise in Egypt had a profound impact on the history of the people of Israel. His presence in Egypt paved the way for future enslavement and, eventually, for the Exodus, when Moses led the Israelites on their journey to freedom. These biblical stories are essential for understanding the origin, migrations, and interconnections of African and Middle Eastern peoples, as well as for understanding the historical and spiritual foundations of the Abrahamic religious traditions, which play a crucial role in the faith and practice of millions of people to this day. By sharing this knowledge, we hope to promote respect, tolerance, and appreciation of the cultural heritage of African peoples.